Fort Worth, Texas, known for its legendary cowboy culture, world-famous barbecue and cuisine. FEI World Cup Finals, featuring the best that show jumping and dressage has to offer. Hosted at the world-famous Dickies Arena, April 8th to 12th, 2026. So giddy up. Get your tickets now at fortworth2026.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of HorseShow360. Thank you so much for tuning in. Over the past few months, we've had a great time recording for all of you. This episode, I'm joined by Sami McDermott, obviously my right-hand man at Split Rock Jumping Tour and currently the executive director of World Cup Finals 2026 Fort Worth. This episode is going to be all about Fort Worth 2026. We wanted to update everybody on where we're at in the planning process and everything that has to do with World Cup Finals Fort Worth 2026. And we're so excited to produce this event for everybody globally. Sami, thanks for joining me. Obviously, there's no better human being to join me for this type of podcast than you. You are in charge of literally everything, probably, just so everybody knows, 20 times more things than I am even for this championship. So you're the leader. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think last year we did the 5-star in LA, and that was really challenging in its own right. And then we kicked off into this 26, and I'm stoked to plan it. I think that we're ready for it. I think that we've got an incredible town to host it in. I was just talking to you about it this morning. Like, to be able to bring an event of this caliber to a town like Fort Worth is, I can't really honestly think of anything better. I was just in Fort Worth sort of being a tourist, and just to experience the city, whether you're there for an event or not, is already really special. So to be able to bring people to see the best of the best in the sport and to go to a city like Fort Worth is probably the thing that I'm most excited about. Certainly learning every day of what it is and what it takes to put on a championship. I think that putting on horse shows, we've been doing that for a decade now. So I feel really confident going in and knowing how to run a really, really good, tight ship, amazingly produced horse show. But all of the other aspects of running a championship and all of the other things that are higher stakes, different things, flying horses in USDA, all the things that you don't normally do for a normal horse show. It's been really fun to talk to some of the best in the industry and really learn from them and have the best people to put on the best horse show, for sure.
You're really jumping over a lot of topics that I had to talk about today.
That's okay.
But I think you made a good point. Like, I feel like we kind of have a new motto this year at Split Rock. And we haven't really elaborated on that, but I know I've mentioned it in the past of like, we want to be a championship organizing committee. Like, this is what Split Rock Jumping Tour is all about, producing really high level events. And now it's sort of become, I'd say that is our bread and butter, a boutique event that is high level. And obviously my personal goal at Split Rock is to always produce the best events possible. And that's what I really want to do more of moving forward with our company, right? Like, this year, more than ever, I would consider ourselves a championship organizing committee, because we are completely in the throes of producing and planning World Cup Finals, which is one of 3 global championships worldwide, or one of the 3 biggest, I would say. And also on the other side, we have other championships this year. We have Junior Hunter Finals, which we are like so freaking honored to organize as well. I know when I started my company, I was only jumpers, but now we're doing some hunters and we're doing it pretty well. We've worked out a lot of the kinks that we had in the past, and we're really blessed and honored to be awarded Junior Hunter National Championships for this year in June. So we have that. And we also have Amateur Hunter Finals and Amateur Gladstone Cup in the fall. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty freaking cool. So,
and the 5-star and the qualifier, which is, not a championship, but it's to have as many years, we've now had qualifiers in different locations, and for so many years, to be able to have that experience with Longines and FEI going into a World Cup is so, so important to
Well,
know
we
that.
want to have the best events. Like,
Yeah.
it is always my goal to the legacy of Split Rock and Split Rock Jumping Tour to produce memorable traditional events. And we've had this conversation a lot about, do modern types of leagues and shows and everything like that speak to the equestrian community worldwide like older, traditional, amazing, cool events. And I think this is a whole nother topic, but I like Steve Gerdot and Martin Fuchs have boycotted the Longines League of Nations because, you know, they want to participate in the Aachen and these other things, and it's a whole nother conversation. But how do you create an event that is like so special that people just, it is on their calendar every year and will always be remembered? And I think that that's my goal, and it shifted from new age type events to creating legacy events for either other groups or ourselves
Yeah.
that we can hang our hat on and feel good on, that will leave a lasting memory in riders and everybody's minds. And when I think of that, I think of like championship events. I think of these type of caliber events. You know, I had a rider actually at Terra Nova last week come to me, top rider, come to me and say something that was so flattering and memorable to me, which keeps me going. It keeps me wanting to do these type of events. You know, you and I talk about this all the time of like getting tired and how do you stay motivated and these kind of things. And I think we have cool enough stuff happening this year, including the planning of World Cup finals, that's going to keep us going at least for another little while. But they said to me that they thought, well, first of all, they said they're coming to Kentucky for this year because it's a 5-star for the first time in April during the Defender 3-day event. We have a first time ever 5-star. We've talked about that a lot. I'm repping the Kentucky Horse Park Foundation hat today. I don't know if you all noticed that. That's probably a whole nother podcast topic, but definitely dear to my heart and local community here, Kentucky Horse Park Foundation, who is also involved in that event in April. But so they said they're coming to April, but what they said to me is that they attended LA this year in Santa Anita, and they literally said to me that that's the best event they've ever been to in North America. The coolest, best event they've ever been to in North America. Like, that was a first-year event. I know we've talked about that, had a whole episode for it, but like, how freaking cool is that? Like, that's why we do these special events.
Yeah.
And it's a testament to the team at Santa Anita. It's a testament to the team at First Racing, and it's a testament to our team in the collaboration for making that so memorable for people. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's not a championship, but it is a 5-star. It's the highest level. And that's what we want to do. We want to create events that people just remember and be like, damn, those guys did it better. And they gave us everything we expected and wanted. And now leading into World Cup finals, that's like a culmination of like all these details. You have a 5-star level, and then you have, let me find the camera. You have 5-star level, and then you have like championship level. So it's like, oh God, we're going from literally what we thought was like the highest level and level of planning to championship level, which is like a whole nother breed of elements that you and I have never even done before.
Yeah. But I think that's honestly, that's why I like to do these events that are, because, you know, for me, the moment that I stop learning or the moment that I stop being able to like level up is when I get bored and I kind of am like, okay, it's time to move on. And I think honestly, the reason why I've been here for 10 years is because we are constantly changing and doing cooler things, newer things that excite me. And as soon as we started to do the 2026, I mean, the amount of phone calls that I do a week is ridiculous, but it's
I couldn't do it. You know, I wouldn't have the attention span. Everybody, that's why Sami is here. and that's why she's so amazing to this team because, my attention span is not there.
Yeah. So, but it's every time I get off of a phone call with somebody, it's such a, like, fulfilling conversation every time because you're talking to people and you're throwing ideas out there, and the people that I'm talking to when you're at this level of sport are equally as into it as we are, and to be able to feel that passion from every angle of an event it was the same with LA, like, to feel that passion on both sides of the phone of people really wanting to put their best foot forward for something, and then everything that I'm learning, I mean, the amount of information that I didn't even know that I didn't know of what goes into it, like, that's what keeps me going, that's and also, to your point, like, being able to when people walk up to you, of course, compliments are always great, but when they walk up to you and you know that you make people feel good when they're at your events, like, that to me is the most important to me. Like, you want people to walk away from there and feel like you because horse showing every weekend does get, not boring, but you get used to doing it. And be able to for people to walk to an event and we're able to do it differently and better, and people to walk away feeling, "Wow, that was really cool," like, no matter what the level, that's what's most important to me when we're planning these events, for sure.
Yeah, and we I think it's been hard for me because I feel like I've always been really a stickler on our identity.
Mhm,
Our identity of why are we different than other
mhm.
horse show groups or horse shows or horse show management groups, and I think that doing things, keep continuing to push ourselves and continuing to do events at higher and higher levels are, like you said, they're what keeps us going. I'm a person that is the same way. Like if I get bored on something, I move to the next uh, adventure or the next project or anything like this. And that's where like running horse shows, if you have that mentality, is really cool because you're kind of always able to be a bit creative
Mhm.
in new things. And we're a group that like our shows and our tour and everything like that changes from year to year and all this. So it presents a different mindset for everything. But when we're working these details of World Cup finals, like, we're, like you said, we're learning things on a daily basis that we didn't even know we needed to think about.
Yeah.
And I can only say that once we get through this, which it's going to be a grind, it's going to be overwhelming, it's going to be at times, I'm sure we're going to feel like we can't get it done, even though I know we will. Um, like how much better off are our other events going to be for this? Like
Sure.
the information that's going into our memory bank now of details that go into this level are going to translate, I think, into all of our other events. Before I forget, do you have one of those cards somewhere? Probably should have prepared for this with our logo and everything.
With the QR codes
So,
on it?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't have it printed out, but we could throw it in here.
I want to show people because one of the first things, well, from start to finish, okay, we bid for this nearly 3.5 years ago.
Mhm.
So this has been like still like a long time coming. And it's finally here. So it's really a bit daunting. Just so everybody knows, like we are getting into the throes. We're over a year out from this event, but the amount of planning process that's happening is happening right now. Like we have used this entire winter to go over details back and forth to Fort Worth and everything. So everybody knows how far out it takes to do something like this properly. We worked our partnership with Visit Fort Worth and the Fort Worth Sports Commission and the city of Fort Worth all together are in partnership with Split Rock to produce this global event. And it took us the better part of 2 years, literally, after we won the bid to iron out our partnership. That's one detail that took forever. Literally weekly meetings to put our partnership together, work out the details of who's responsible for what and how we're going to make that happen. And then I think we literally spent 6 months designing the logo,
Yeah, we took a long time to design the logo and the super graphic, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what's called a super graphic is our aesthetic marketing design that we're going to be putting out to people and everywhere. We've already started to dabble with it and putting putting it out there. This is still a little bit of an experimental phase for us now that we're in March, before World Cup Finals 2025, which is in Basel. Then the second Basel happens, clicks over to us in marketing. So it took us 4 to 6 months to just design our website, design the super graphic and the logos and everything that really we thought could speak to people. And the second people saw it, would instantly recognize what it would be for. But it's awesome because it's a whole state of Texas, combines Texas, which is so cool, which we're going to talk about, equestrian, dressage, and jumping, because we have the dressage and jumping World Cup final, the city of Fort Worth, and Will Rogers Memorial Coliseum, which is on the same property as Dickies Arena that's hosting the event. Actually, all of our stabling is going to be at Will Rogers. So pretty cool that this logo came together to incorporate all those aspects. Everybody, when they see it, it's going to know Texas. Everybody that see it's going to know equestrian. And I think that was the first part of our planning process that we were, heavily invested in, that is so important to making something like of this caliber successful, because the aesthetics, the marketing, the advertising, everything, it has to make sense that people know how many times did you go back and forth with the team at Fort Worth and design this?
Yeah.
And
Well,
months and
months and
FEI.
months. I remember, sitting on calls at the June show last year, planning it out. And I think for me, we had a lot to encapsulate in that whole graphic, and it's funny. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, wow, we're planning an event that's 4 or 5 days and it's taking us 3 years to plan it. And I think a lot of events are like that. But, it was important to me to have, every time that somebody sees some sort of marketing detail of the event, it's got parts and pieces that are pulled out of that super graphic. So that was really what we were trying to do, is, let's take pieces here and those kinds of things, so that it was important to also let not horse show people know what was going on. And then the horse show people know about Texas. That was important. So, and that's a little bit been our marketing plan, is to really show the Europeans, the horse show people that don't know anything about Texas, what Texas is, which I'm so excited about. And then let the not horse show people that are maybe in Texas that just want to see a fun event, what's coming and what they can look forward to. So that was really important to sort of.
This is the biggest point I want to make, that I want everybody to hear from this episode, and is that the main basis of this event is selling tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can tell everybody out there that is considering coming to attend this World Cup Finals in Fort Worth, Texas, is you are coming for Texas.
Yeah.
You are coming for the culture. Not only are you coming to watch the highest level and the top sport of dressage and show jumping and the best riders in the world dueling it out, but you are also going to get the culture of Fort Worth and Texas. And everybody on this team and everybody a part of this partnership, including the city of Fort Worth, Split Rock Jumping Tour, Visit Fort Worth, is aiming to put on a show for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is going to get the red carpet rolled out for them and experience Texas culture.
Yeah.
This is not a normal World Cup final. This is a World Cup final where you're coming on a 4 or 5 day trip to have a freaking blast.
Yeah.
Right.
We were just there 2 weeks ago to be a tourist, which I've never gotten to do in Fort Worth as an adult, which is really cool. And we went down to the stockyards and we watched the Longhorns come down the road, and then we walked around, and every store that we walked into, of course, I was like shamelessly plugging the event, just telling them that it was coming. And every single person that I walked into and told somebody on their team about it, they were like, sign us up. Like, we will take them, we will host them, we will show them around, we will like do this, that. And they are so excited to see everybody come to Texas and to have an entire city. I mean, we went to Bowie House, we went to the Cowgirl Museum, we went to Kimes Ranch, we went to King Ranch, we went to all these places, and every single person, Tacovas, they were like, we cannot wait until your squad comes here, and we can't wait to show them what Texas is. And you don't get that. Really, I've never been anywhere that is so, you feel it everywhere you go. It's not just one street. It's not just one
But at other
place.
events, like
Correct.
when I look at other events, like of course the focal point is going to be show jumping and dressage and the
Yeah.
equestrian sport. But when you go to other major events, like I feel like there does kind of have to be another draw. You know,
Yeah.
in the equestrian
Correct.
world, usually there has to be some other draw, whether it be the town, the city, the region, the offerings of the event and everything. I think some traditional events out there have like a natural aura about them and vibe about them that lock in. They're just like, oh God, we got to see it, experience it. It's the top sport of the world. But how often can you go to a city or a championship and know you're going to be spending a lot of money on tickets and stuff, so you want to be able to get your bang for your buck, but you are going to be able to leave knowing that you saw a culture that you really wanted to experience outside of the equestrian sport as well. Like
Yeah.
you're going to be able to leave. You better bring an extra suitcase because you're going to get
Yeah.
a pair of boots,
Yeah.
if not two.
Yeah.
You're going to custom stuff. You're going to get cowboy hat, cowgirl hat. I don't know how you call it. Belts, barbecue, whiskey, like
Jeans. Yeah.
jeans, the culture,
Yeah.
like this is what people have to look forward to. How often do you get that? So that's really exciting. And that's kind of what made me decide that Fort Worth was a good place to do this, because the first year we ran the show, I believe was 2021, 20, I can't remember now, in Fort Worth, but like I needed to see it and feel it to know. I knew we were considering putting in a bid for the final, but after experiencing the town for the first time, I don't think people realize that. I mean, I think people know that it's in Texas, but I don't think people understand the lure and the draw of Fort Worth.
Yeah, and I also think a lot of people, when people come for our horse shows, of course, in December we always do like a ton of tours over at Dickies, but every time people walk down the street and turn left and they see from the stabling Dickies Arena and the way that it presents itself, I think that it's so like, it sounds silly, but like foreshadowing of what is, you want every single part of Dickies and the way that they operate and the way that they do events, from their F&B team to their ticketing team to their marketing team, is so top tier class that you walk into that stadium and it blows people away, even people who have been in a million stadiums. I mean, the people who were looking to broadcast and all, they walked in there and they're like, this is our dream come true. And so to be able to do it in a facility like that is also uh, really special. And also the stabling, they just remodeled every single barn. Well, not every single barn, but on the other side at Will
That we're
Rogers.
using.
Yeah, the barns that we're using just opened last December. So they're shiny and they're new and they're top class and everything's connected. And um, even though Dickies and Will Rogers are two different properties, there's the rodeo goes on there. So it's all focused around doing big events and having it really well laid out for animals too, which is really important to the horses. So to be able to have that and to have it so centered around horse sport is really cool. You know, it's an incredible
Yeah, I mean,
place.
I don't know if people realize this, but Dickies was rated by Billboard the #1 indoor arena stadium
Yeah.
in the world by Billboard with 15,000 seats and below
Hmm.
last year. I mean, that's how good this arena is. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think that equestrian sport and these athletes coming in are going to feel like the coolest athletes in the world.
Yeah.
People sitting in there watching them are going to feel that way. Like you said, the quality of Dickies Arena is really unlike anything other. The entire experience from top to bottom for me was really important, that it had to be that incredible.
Hmm.
And we're really blessed and lucky to have the city of Fort Worth to help us with that, Dickies Arena help us with that, Will Rogers to have brand new barns for the stabling that's going to be like uber luxurious for the horses, and everything. So, you know, when I think of putting on a championship, we're like, we have to think about all these things
Mm-hmm.
years in advance. And, hopefully we create a stabling area that's better than anywhere.
Yeah.
That's our goal. We're going to create a equestrian sport that in a stadium that's better than
Yeah.
anywhere, rated number 1 in the world
Yep.
by Billboard. Um,
And
and
also sorry, but the airport, like, it's so accessible, and also going back to, like, the horses, for them to
you
be
can
able to,
fly from
like,
anywhere around the world.
yeah, and for
Within
the
a-
horses, it's so much less stress on them too. I mean, of course, I don't know, I've never put on other championships before, but for them to be able to fly directly into DFW and take a 30-minute trailer ride to the stabling is also, like, for me, that wasn't it was a no-brainer to have it there because it's so easily accessible too. Although American, not Delta, but it was good for them.
You're describing our biases.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, no. So these are all the really cool things that we're planning on for Fort Worth and what people are going to be able to experience. And it's going to be an unbelievable experience. And that's just what I want people to know is that we're thinking this through, every aspect for everybody that's going to invest a good chunk of money to come see and feel this. But you're going to get more out of it, I
Yeah.
believe, in my opinion, than you could experiencing traveling for pretty much almost any other event worldwide. I mean, it is going to be that cool, and it's going to be worth it. And it's going to be a vacation week that you're going to have something to do every minute of every day, and it's going to be so freaking awesome. So,
Yeah.
in the end, the whole thing around my biggest insecurity about this event is selling tickets because it's not something that we've ever really done before on a big scale. We've definitely sold tickets at a lot of events and done well with that, but like I said, this is another level. Um, I think, our goals are to sell between 70 and 90,000 tickets for the
Mhm.
week,
Yeah.
per session tickets. So it's a lot, and each session can hold roughly around 10,000.
Yeah.
So a sold out situation is like 9,500 to 10,000 tickets in the stadium in our configuration. Um, when I say configuration, we've already planned out, what seats are going to be open in the stadium, how big the arena floor is going to be, to literally down to the inch, how much those screens are going to, creep in on the arena floor. And like, these are all the little details that we already have planned year and a half out of this event. And then everything comes together from there. And, for me, my biggest insecurity is selling tickets. I don't know how to do it. Never done it before on this large of a scale. How do we get the word out to everybody? How does, I don't know if there are folks listening in Texas to this podcast, but if you're a part of an association or an organization that's in the equestrian world, whether it be Western, paint horse, dressage, all show jumping, hunter jumper, 4-H, any of these things, and you're wanting to be involved in the championship, I would say, come on down, give us a call Sami, email Sami, reach out to us and say, we want these partnerships. We need these partnerships, volunteers, everything like that. So anything we can do to fill out the event and make it, special, we're going to do, no?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things that, has been so great about knowing that we had this event and also going down there, we've been down there so many times the past 2 to 3 years, and every time we go there, we change something, which is another thing that's really important for people to, I think, hear is like, you know, we completely changed what side the horses were going to come in. I mean, we walked it twice, we walked it 3 times, we walked it with 5-star athletes that came and did a walkthrough, and all of that feedback usually tends to lead us to the best laid plan, which is really nice. And I think, um, just being able to go there and just make sure that everything is like so perfectly laid out and so that it kind of flows for everybody. I think that's been fun to kind of go down there and, like, I don't know, change it
Well,
up,
the biggest
play around
part
with
of
it.
organizing an event, not just a championship, is making sure it makes sense.
Hmm.
People need to show up, and that's our job to have the forethought and that's part of why our event in Los Angeles, I think, went so well, is because it took, you know, so long for the collective groups to come together to make it make sense for people. think in advance of what people are going to want and need and the flow of it and how it's going to work and all of that. And,
Yeah.
how many times, that's why that show was just such an incredible success, because even though it was a first time event, people didn't feel like it was.
Yeah.
And when it comes to a championship, we don't have any wiggle room to make it right. It needs to make sense. People need to show up and understand it. And that, like, the flow of where the horses are, the stabling area, what's going on. I know Dickies Arena. Like, how many times did we discuss the layout of the trade fair and
Right.
how it was going to feel for people and flow for people and all of the above? Like, I think a year it took us
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Well, we even started with the horses being inside Dickies. I mean, that was the original plan. And then when we walked down there, we were like, this isn't the right fit for them. And especially when we knew that they were remodeling the barns, it was a no-brainer to move them across the street, just to have a quiet place for the horses to go, kind of something that's a little bit separated from the Coliseum. And just it's more airy. It's a better option for them. And then to your point of the trade fair, we were going to have the trade fair sort of go around the schooling arena. And when we were down there in
It felt like
December,
they were in a basement.
yeah, walking around with Marty, we were like, this feels dark and grim and very hard to like bring it to light. And also, so anyway, so we decided to, and also I would say the one thing that we struggle with Dickies is there's no good way to get a mass amount of people from the downstairs to the upstairs. So then everybody would have to go down there, go back out, go back up this. It didn't flow right. So when we were down there last time, we collectively with Marty Bowman, who is our like savior in so many things, we were like, let's go look outside on the plaza, because Dickies has like up on the top. It's called the Simmons Bank Plaza, and it's huge and
Main
wraps
level.
all the way around Dickies on the main level. And then they also have a lot of like overlooking balconies that kind of looks over the plaza. So it was a really cool vibe and atmosphere. And we decided to move it out there, one, for space, and two, just to be able to allow, it's also going to be open to everybody. So you don't particularly have to have a ticket to go into the event, which I think um, for the town and for the city and for vendors, it was a better option, because not only are you going to be capturing everybody that's going to be coming to the event, but you're also going to be open to literally anybody driving by or catching word of it, to go be able and shop around and do that. And then, we've got some that are sort of like inside outside spaces. We've got some extra, like the Chisholm and the Goodnight room for some vendors, where they'll sort of be like inside the Coliseum but outside too, which is really fun. So I think for us, when we walked up there and we started to really lay it out, we were like, this is, you know hoping that we don't get 80-mile-per-hour winds, because everything's going to be in a tent. But I think, it is, we've planned for that. We know that that's an option where you can have weather. So we're doing the best to sort of like make that,
Well, it's going to flow better. You're not
you
going
know,
to need a ticket to experience it. You get
correct.
everybody from all the public's going to be able to shop at these incredible shops, because World Cup Finals has between 70 and 100 vendors. It's going to be the trade fair alone is going to be a great experience for people. And now that we've come up with what we think is a plan that can really work for everyone and flow for everyone, so they can have a great experience, then but those are little details that just take so much time when you're talking. You can't just throw it together. And it literally has taken us probably 10 trips to Fort Worth,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
um, hundreds of conversations of laying it out properly to make sure, it can work from everybody's angle. And that's what this is all about. I want to also, we have this really super cool sizzle reel that we're going to be releasing to the public as our main commercial for World Cup Finals, and I want to put it on this podcast. So hopefully Anthony can plug this in there. I want to put it at the beginning, and I want to put it at the end, because it's so freaking cool. So we can put that on there too. But yeah, but the reason I say is because we've described a lot of areas of the show. We've described the culture, we've described the horse sport, we've described Dickies Arena, and the city of Fort Worth and everything. And then there's clips, all that packed into this 30-second commercial. So everybody's going to be able to get to see what we're talking about and visualize on this podcast what we're meaning. And I'm sure you guys are going to see this sizzle reel you're gonna be like sick of it by the time we're done playing it, because we're gonna play it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, the layout of the trade fair is gonna be so awesome. Another whole nother aspect to this event that is gonna be really cool for people to experience. Like I said, we're gonna have so much for people to do over these 4 or 5 days that, like, I cannot stress enough that this is just gonna be one you're not gonna wanna miss.
Yeah, that's one of the other things too. We have incredible partners in this Fort Worth Sports Commission. Heath, who's kind of been my right hand down there, they do huge events. They do like NCAA gymnastics, they do Bassmaster, they do all these events that are just huge. And I think him and I were having a long conversation the other day of like, how do we tell people everything that they can do here and let them plan? Because whether if you're coming with kids, there's like a 4 days worth of things you can do for the kids. There's the zoo, there's the gardens, there's the museums, there's all of that. There's a full day's worth of, if you like to go out at night and party, there's Billy Bob. I mean, there's so much to do no matter the kind of thing that you want to, whatever person you are and the things that you like to enjoy. I guarantee you that Fort Worth has that for you to go experience. And I think that that was what I was struggling with, to be honest with you, is how do we tell everybody all of the amazing things? And the nice thing is Fort Worth has already done it for us. They have like a really cool website that's literally plan your visit, and they've got all the things on there. And Derek and I he'll bring it up here of the website and stuff like that. But like if anybody's thinking of coming or getting tickets, that's already there. You guys can go check that out and see sort of the things that are. And I'm not talking about getting in the car and driving 20 minutes. You're either within walking distance or a 5-minute car ride to all of this, which is really cool. They have tons of like public transport. They have little taxis. They've got little like orange trails. They have Molly the trolley. They've got all kinds of things that go around and get you there, which is really fun. And when we went down there for the stockyards, I know I've already mentioned this, but it's so cool, and the history down there. And you can like grab a drink at the Drover, which is, everybody's got to go there and see that. I mean, that hotel, you walk out back, you like can walk in, grab a drink at the bar, a coffee, whatever, and walk out back. And it is just the most beautiful landscape, huge space. And just to be able to do that and to tell people about that's been something we've been trying to capture. They've already done most of the work, but that I've said it 100 times on this podcast, but getting the word out there to people and telling them about all the things to do outside of the show.
Everything about this championship, I think, is going to be memorable. And like Sammy was saying, you can go to fortworth2026.com for all of this information, and keep checking back. We're going to keep adding information to the website to help you guys plan your trip. You can purchase tickets now. They are open to the public. All session tickets are still open right now.
Mhm.
So please go and think about doing that early. The earlier you book, the more you're going to save with these all session packages and stuff and everything like that, and get better seats and everything. We've already started selling. So the earlier you get out there, the better seats you're also going to be able to get, and you're going to be able to pick your locations and everything, because it's going to be such a fun thing for everybody. And I can't wait for everybody to experience it.
Well, we've also got too, while I'm thinking of it, we've also got clinics, and then we have a national Grand Prix during the horse show too. So people that are getting all session passes, it's not just the FEI events. We've got a national Grand Prix that we're going to do, and then we are going to do a dressage clinic and a show jumping clinic. TBD on who's going to be doing those, but I think that if, when you're getting these all session passes for dressage, it's 3 sessions, the 2 FEIs, and then the clinic, and then the show jumping is actually 5 sessions. So that's, I think, important to know when you guys are going on to get these all session passes, that it's not just the FEI stuff. There's also other sessions going on.
Yeah, I'm going to go down the list. Actually, is a really good point. So what are people coming for, and what can they purchase? They can get their tickets on Ticketmaster.com.
Mm-hmm.
They can buy jumping tickets, dressage tickets, all session tickets, which are for both, which I highly recommend, because I think if you're coming all that way, like it's just going to be a full experience to watch dressage and jumping at the highest level. You can purchase VIP hospitality in order to. There's a really exclusive club called the Reliant Club that we have a select number of tables for, and if anybody's looking for a really, really high-end, amazing, best seat in the house type of experience, you can purchase VIP tables. You have to contact Sami herself for that information. Sami at splitrockjumpingtour.com. For that, also, we have what's called an area club, which is on the other side of the stadium. That is a little bit lower point. You're going to be able to get drinks and food and everything like that prior to heading to your seat for the competition times. So there's that lower point of hospitality as well, option add-on for your seated tickets, which is great. You're going to be able to come for the trade fair. You're going to be able to come for Fort Worth and the culture and everything. So there's a lot of different offerings. We are not going to be selling individual session tickets for quite some time. So if you are considering coming for multiple days and experiencing all that Fort Worth and this championship has to offer, please go on now. Go on to fortworth2026.com or Ticketmaster and purchase your all session tickets. It's really going to be incredible. This is not going to be a boring time for anybody, and I guarantee everybody that. We're so excited to have everybody. Let's go back a step to a little bit of the planning process that I didn't touch on. That's really been a little bit of an insecurity for us as well, as the USDA part.
Sure.
Setting up the stabling area and making sure horse welfare is, our number one priority. We've talked about like the experience for everybody coming in, but like everything starts with the horse on this one.
Sure.
And every single detail that goes into planning this event has started and already happened on the equestrian and the equine side. Like, we need help with selling tickets and all that, but like, I think this is what we're really good at,
Yeah, I think, we're so lucky. We're going to partner with Tim Duda, who's has just
Probably should have had him on here for this.
yeah, that's probably a full another episode in its own, but he's so top class, and he just knows everything, and he's so good at what he does.
When we talk about the planning of how the stabling is going to be laid out, how the cleanliness, how all of the process from the quarantine and what environment that's going to be put in place, it really does, how the wash racks are going to be laid out, how that's going to be sanitized, how everything is going to be properly done, where and what horses are going to ride at what time, so they're not, affecting each other or contaminating each other. Like, all these details go into an experience for everybody. Even though it's extremely thorough, it's like, that's been a lot for us, like just figuring out all those details. Like you said, Tim has done an incredible job at Duda Corp, guiding us through that process. And then, a whole nother level of this preparation is like, everybody knows the footing. Like, the footing of this, everybody knows that this is the first thing I've thought of when it comes to this event. And just so everybody knows, we've already made the footing.
Yeah.
We've already done it. We're talking over a year and a half out. We've already produced this footing, which, is so important, because something like this cannot just be thrown together. Like, it has to be good enough for the highest level. And I think a lot of events have not done that well in the past, of this caliber and other calibers. And it's just something that's so important to me on the sports side. Like, these details of the stabling, the rider experience, the athlete experience, and the horse experience is like the most important thing. Like, you do not have a good event or a good championship if those details are not right.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before the spectator stuff, before everything else. So the footing's already been produced. It's sitting right there in Fort Worth at the airport, near Fort Worth, in big piles. So you see, if you fly into that specific airport, it's not DFW, but another one, and you see big piles of sand or tarp things, mountains. You know what it is. Like, this stuff, it has to be tested. Tested and tested and tested and tested and tested. And we need to make sure that it is right on day one, not day 5, right? That's our goal. We're going to do whatever it takes to make it right, straight off the bat. And, all those details, it just takes so much time. Like, how many hours for everybody do you think we have? I know we've talked about this on other events, but this is more than anything. So you've probably worked how many hours on this over the past few years, 1,000 now.
Well, I mean, I don't. It's really all that I do right now. It is my 40 hours a week at least. It's just there's just so many details. There's so many things, and to be able to make sure every detail is thought of and really fleshed out it's important.
And we haven't touched on, so those are all like the other little details of the event and the layout and all the different offerings in the city, and we've gone through all of that. Another thing we haven't touched on necessarily is sponsorships. Sponsorships are this is going to be like, everybody's always like, every event needs sponsorships because the equestrian sport in general is, for compared to other sports like football and basketball, it's relatively smaller. So, having this support and partnerships with people are so vital to the success of events. But the reason why this one is different is because if you're a sponsor of this event, like, you're gonna get so much out of it.
Hmm.
If we're strategic in helping a sponsor get in there and get in front of the right eye, like, we're talking about everybody in show jumping and dressage's eyes are gonna be on this event
Yeah.
for April 8th to 12th, 2026.
Hmm.
The world is gonna be watching this event.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody that's into equestrian globally that's not gonna be watching this event. So that's the cool thing about partnerships for this World Cup finals. So we're super excited to do some really cool things for a lot of major partners for us. If anybody's still interested in partnering for us, again, contact Sami, contact our team here at Split Rock, and we will help you be a part of it because it is going to be such an unbelievable magnitude of an event.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun. I can't wait. I mean, we could talk about it for hours, and I think, like you said, having Tim on to sort of, because that honestly for me was something that was, I'm just gonna jump back to the USDA thing. Like that was,
Learning.
that was cool for me. Yeah, that was really cool for me because it's so different from how other horse shows have to operate and, flying the horses in and having to do all the testing and all, those are just things that a lot of people don't know even happen before a championship starts. So I think that would be a cool episode to sort of fill people in on what that looks like. I don't know. It was cool for me. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think we're for sure going to be doing more episodes on World Cup finals because it's like, I know it's a little cliche, but like the road to a show or the road to an event or the road to a championship is like something that people put out there all the time. But yeah, we live and breathe it every day, and I hope people see and feel and understand what it takes to put on these events and how like gratifying it is for us to show it to the world. And again, we want to make memorable events, and I think this is going to be the most memorable event that probably we could ever do. And it's just so important to our core team to, put on something that's special for people. And these are a lot of the aspects that have gone into planning it. Hope people understand our partnerships and what it's taken to put it together over the course of 3.5 years to this point, which is pretty insane that it's coming up so fast and furious. And we're so excited. I definitely just wanted to remind people, go to FortWorth2026.com and you'll be able to get all this information, purchase tickets. Please, I encourage everybody to get ahead of the game. If you're wanting to volunteer, be involved. If you're an association in the community in Texas that wants to be involved, contact Sami or me, and we are happy to create those partnerships, strategic partnerships. If you're a sponsor or somebody out there that wants to be a vendor, please contact our team and Marty Bowman and to handle all the vendor stuff. Again, you can find all that info on FortWorth2026.com. And yeah, we're just so excited to produce this championship for the world. And it's kind of crazy to say for the world, but this is not just for somebody in America. This is for the world. So come on down, everybody from around the world, fly into DFW. You can get there. You can access it from anywhere in the world, which is amazing. It's not hard to get to. You pretty much can fly from anywhere in the world on one flight.
Yeah.
DFW, I think, is one of, if not one of the biggest airports in the entire world. It's so close, so easy to get to. So come on down. We hope everybody joins us. And yeah, we're just so excited. And we're going to play that sizzle reel again now. And hopefully people can see it and feel how cool it's going to be, because we're so excited about it. I think you can tell our vibe and our energy is just really pumped for this event, more than literally anything we've ever done before. So, yeah, definitely reach out to us if you have any more questions about World Cup finals, you have problems with tickets, anything. We are here and always available for anybody's questions. So we're so excited. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us to another episode of HorseShow360. Sami, thank you again for being so insightful on this particular event of World Cup Finals Fort Worth 2026. Don't forget to tune in to our YouTube channel to watch full episodes of HorseShow360 podcast. Follow us on Instagram, HorseShow360, and you can tune in on all of podcast platforms anywhere, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, anywhere you tune into your podcast. So thank you guys again for joining us on another episode of HorseShow360 podcast. This one was all about World Cup Finals 2026 Fort Worth. We hope you all can attend, and we are here for you if you need any info regarding that major event coming next spring. So thank you guys again, and we hope you keep tuning in.
Thanks.
Fort Worth, Texas, known for its legendary cowboy culture, world-famous barbecue and cuisine. FEI World Cup Finals, featuring the best that show jumping and dressage has to offer. Hosted at the world-famous Dickies Arena, April 8th to 12th, 2026. So giddy up! Get your tickets now at fortworth2026.com.